wound up saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to sit here because I have to leave at 1 no matter what, because I'm supposed to have already gotten the costumes and came back because I thought we were going to be on at like 11.
Okay.
But it's no big deal. I just wanted to, the biggest thing, my consultant was asking me, when he goes over, he's my financial advisor, is what is the ROI, Jay? Like, okay, if you put in 5,000, right? And it's going to be $5,000 a month that it's costing you for the cars, right? What is it gonna, what are they gonna make back?
Well, I could pull that up for you.
That's what I keep trying to explain to Kiana. She just wants me to go get this car. And I'm explaining to her that with me taking care of others, I have not made any of this has just been like helping patch things up for people. I haven't made an investment. And this is an investment. So I have to look at it like, okay, what is my return on investment? Am I looking at possibly losing money each month? Do you have months where your cars don't cover themselves? I'm like, Kiana, there's a lot of questions I need to ask him because my advisor is then asking me this. And then I got to sit with the developer so we can see, like, take what you're doing and then 10x it and
So,
remove you out of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's the build out of a whole platform that, Dawn and I were talking about doing before we met you. And you're the middleman doing all that right now.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see because it looks like when I hit share screen on StreamYard, it only lets me share screens that's in a tab versus because I'm trying to share my Excel spreadsheet with you. Let me see.
There should be
It
three.
should
It says tab, whole screen.
it and then entire screen. So I'm gonna share my
Yeah.
entire screen. So let me know once you see. And I'll just give you an example of idea. So I don't look at the cars like because I know you mentioned if you put in 5,000. So I don't look at it. So you gotta look at each car as an individual, basically, right?
Okay,
So I
perfect.
look at each car as units or however you want. So for example, this is an example back in February, right? Just to give you an idea, right? So how I normally do, I do these, every morning, if not every week. So what I do for each car, I create a spreadsheet, and with the spreadsheet lets me know how much money that car earns, how many miles is driven monthly on the car, if I had to put any maintenance on it, what's the car note minus the insurance and stuff like that, so I can get down to what the profit is and things of that nature, right? So just to give you an example, so this client, her name's Quintara. So she's probably been ran from my car going on 2 years now, right? Like nonstop, 2 years. She
Uh-huh.
swaps out. She has a cleaning company, so she uses the car to go clean properties and things of that nature. So, like I said before, those are the best clients, are the people who need the car for what they do or essentially work. So, well, in her case, I charge her $100 a day, right? Cool. So in this month, she had the car for 4 days. So as you can see, I just fill in $100 and I shaded off for where it's booked by that person. She
Uh-huh.
had 4 days. When she got the car, it's 43,600 miles on it, right?
Uh-huh.
She drove 250. So her total would be 44,100 right before Reginald got the car, right?
Uh-huh.
So Reginald gets the car, gets it for 3 days. And and I don't know if I told you, so with any booking, I don't allow 1 day booking, 2 day minimum
Okay.
for any client.
Okay.
Because from experience, 1 day bookings is when I had the most trouble with clients. And so now I just do 2 day minimum. So same thing, I keep up with the mileage on the vehicles. Then Hannah came, got the car for 4 days, and I still keep up with the mileage. So on average, the car is going to get somewhere between 15 to 20, 21 bookings. That's the average. That's a solid month. And so just to break the numbers down, so with that whole month, 1,200 miles was driven, right? So
Okay.
comes to Spring Free EV, we get 1,800 to 2,000 miles monthly. So that fits perfectly in the gap of what we're trying to do. So we won't get charged any, excessive mileage fees and things of that nature. So I break down the numbers once I put in all my formulas and things of that nature. So in this case, this is one of my, this is a friend of mine who went to college. So he put a Tesla in my fleet, right? So I break down the numbers, we could add all the revenue up what the car made minus the expenses, right? So the total expenses on the car is 820. So don't have to worry about gas because it's a Tesla. So charging, I have portable. Well, every Tesla comes with a portable charger. I don't know if you know
Okay.
that. It comes with
I didn't know that.
so whenever a car is not booked, they're most likely going to be sitting on a charger. So that way, the next day, if it does get booked, it's already fully charged, and we didn't have to pay anything out of pocket for that.
Okay.
Maintenance, as stated before, I rarely have to put any maintenance on a Tesla, which is why I'm kind of converting to more Teslas, more EVs. The car note on that vehicle was $600. Insurance for the car is $200. And then I put $20 for cleaning because sometimes I get the it's a company called Mr. Car Wash. I just put the sticker on the car, and whenever a car needs cleaning, just to ensure that a client brings the car back clean with no excuses of, oh, I didn't have time and things of that nature, I put a free car wash sticker on the car. So there's no reason you don't bring it back clean.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
if you
that makes sense.
and if you don't bring it back clean, we charge you for that. So that's my way of being fair to clients. Because sometimes, I get it. You might be in a rush. I'm charging you a $50 cleaning fee when you could have just took your time and got it clean for free. So if
Yeah.
you get it clean for free, that's going to cost you because now I have to put someone on my team to go get their car clean. So just to kind of minimize, to save time, basically. So the net profit for that month was 1380. So how did we get that number? Pretty much just take the 2200, deduct the expenses of 820, and that's how you get the net profit, right? Cool. Now to make it similar, because I'm a numbers guy, so make it easier. I also create graphs in all my charts too, so people can get a idea of it. So in its totality, management, which would be considered me, and let's just say in this scenario, investor, which would be considered you, right?
Hmm.
So at that month, you would have received 20%, 22% of profit of what the car generated. So I don't want to necessarily say that's an ROI for the whole
Uh-huh.
year because each month is going to be different. You see what I'm saying? So, but on average, it's going to be somewhere between 15 and 25%. Just to be like that's the average metrics that I do for vehicles. Well, Tesla specifically. And then, of course, that's the total earnings. Then we throw the expenses in there. It was no maintenance or gas that time. And then, of course, the car note is 10%, which is a sweet spot. So my goal when it comes to, running the numbers on cars, I always want to keep my expenses less than 15%. And I always want to keep the car note less than 12%. So that way it gives more wiggle room for the investor to make money and me managing it to make money.
Okay.
So that's always the goal. So in this month, I pretty much reached that goal. I was kind of close with the expenses, but that's just because that note is, that was, I can't really control the car note being that price for that investor, for the owner of the car.
Hmm.
So that's something I can't necessarily control. But I was able to, we were able to get it at the 14% margin, and then the car note is the 10%. So that's fine. Insurance is always going to be somewhere between 35%. That really doesn't change because I have a commercial policy. So all my vehicles pretty much get a flat rate depending on the value of the car. So if it's a Tesla that's worth, let's just say 25,000 to 30,000, then the price is going to be 200 monthly for me. Now, if it's a higher end Tesla like a Y or an X, then it's probably going to cost me $50 more or 250. But that still will make it fall into that 3% category, 3 to 4% category. Um,
Okay.
and then cleaning, honestly, I don't expect to clean cars because I solely depend on the clients to bring it back clean. It's just like if you go to Enterprise, they're gonna charge you if you're gonna bring that car back clean. So to bring it back clean, to put gas in it. Granted, we dealing with EVs, so we don't have to worry about gas, but to bring it back charged. It don't have to be fully charged, but at least half. So that way, when I put it on a portable charger, that halfway is gonna be quick.
And you tell them that, like, hey, if you don't, there's a charge for this.
Absolutely. Once they pay their deposit, I let them know. So like if you're someone that's approved on Uber, DoorDash, or any of those platforms, I only charge you $100 deposit, right? So I let them know up front, hey, once you return the vehicle, if the car is not brought back in the same condition as you got it, meaning same fuel charge, or electric charge, and then it must be clean. If not, I have a breakdown of the cleaning fees, and I even pull up. I'll show you one of my rental agreements, so you could just take a look of like what those fees look like when it comes to clients. Let me see. Give me one second. Should be somewhere. I think I uploaded it here. No, that's no. Yeah, so it'll be under here. So let me know if you can still see my screen.
I can still see it. Yes.
Can you still?
One of, yeah, I
Okay,
can see it.
perfect.
One of
So
one.
this is yep. So this is an example of one of my car rental agreements. All right, cool. So every vehicle, I was going to put, the make, model, and the color of the vehicle with the last six of the VIN. So I always add that. Rental period is always going to be the time you pick up. So, for example, if you want a car today on Halloween and you want it just for 2 days, if you picked up at 12:45 in 2 days at 12:45, you need to be returning the car. So it's like I kind of try to make it simple because sometimes people will try to stretch it, get the car at 8 a.m. and then 2 days go by, they want to turn it in at 6 p.m. at night. You basically had the car a whole third day.
Yeah.
So I kind of be strict with the times. The time you pick up is the time you drop off. And then obviously everybody must have insurance. I do give them the option to purchase insurance. It'll be $25 per day if they do decide to purchase insurance. Of course, the driver requirements for economy vehicles, 21 years or older, driver license, and then certain vehicles, 25 up. So I always let it be known the renter is going to be responsible for any violations, any fines, any tolls, anything of that nature that we may get back later down the line in the mail. They're going to be responsible for it. And I also let them know that it's only for personal use unless driving for a rideshare platform. I put that specifically. And you got to provide documentation on approval. And you can't sublease or lend the vehicles to others. So if you let your cousin drive the car and we realize your cousin driving the car, I'm taking the car because your cousin is not covered insurance standpoint. If your cousin go get into an accident, we're doomed. So I'll be very strict on that. Well, I won't say we doomed, but it just makes the whole insurance claim a little bit tricky.
So how do we handle that? That was my next. That was, it's funny you said that because that was one of the questions that my investor asked me. I mean, that my advisor asked me. He said, "So what is your policy on if you rent the car out to someone else and they let someone else use it that's not covered on the policy?"
So if they let someone else that's not covered on a policy, then we're just going to go after the renter's policy because by law in the insurance world, by law, if she gives, let's just say you rented my vehicle and Kiana got into an accident, right? And she's on your policy. By law, I can still go after your insurance company all because you gave Kiana permission to drive the vehicle. Even by you giving her permission, by law, they can still settle that claim. It's called permissible use. That's what they call it in the insurance world. So you still could take care of that. It just, I insist, I always tell them, like, hey, if you have anybody that may be a possible driver or whatnot, let's just go ahead and add them to this contract. It's going to be
And then how much do you charge per day for that?
It's not a per day, so it's a flat fee to add it. So it's just an additional driver charge. So I'll add additional driver for $50, and then you have to add that driver to the policy.
Okay.
Just got to add them as a driver. So even if you just got the car for 2 weeks and your husband may be driving it and just something happened, your husband's not on the policy, then I would just add him as an additional driver and then make him listed as a driver on your policy. If you don't want to put him on the policy, then I'm going to charge you the $25 per day for the insurance for him, if that makes sense.
So on your rental, I mean on their policy, meaning on their insurance policy, right?
Correct. I never filed a claim on mine.
Okay, so all this is on their insurance, and that's how we keep us protected because they have their own insurance. Now, what about people who have like a credit card like for me, when I go and rent cars, I use my credit card and it covers car rental insurance, right? So my Visa, MasterCard, so on and so forth. Do you allow that or no?
Yes, that's fine. So how that works, we'll just have to contact your, for example, Visa. We'll have to contact Visa, and then hold up, give me 1 second. Give me like 5 minutes. I'm gonna hit you back. I'm in a meeting real quick. All right. So pretty much how that would work. Sorry, what was I talking about? I got
We're talking about if a client has they want to use their rental insurance, like when you rent a car, they want to use their Visa, MasterCard, or American Express
yes.
does it too.
So what we'll do in that case, we will just verify that coverage with the carrier. So if it's Visa, American Express, because I know American Express is the most common one that I work with. So we'll pretty much just contact them, verify the coverage and things of that nature, make sure it stands to rental car coverage, and then they'll be good to go. We wouldn't charge them for insurance because American Express will cover them once they're on the rental. So when something does happen, we will file the claim with my company, but then my company is going to contact American Express, so American Express can settle it out for us, if that makes sense.
Okay, perfect.
Um, and what else? Of course, return of the vehicle got to be at my location. Like I mentioned before, shall return the vehicle in the same condition as received, subject to normal wear and tear, responsible for any excessive cleaner and damage beyond normal use. Cancellation policy. This is for the people who, oh, I'll be in town next week, and they go ahead and pay and book in advance, and then they cancel the same day. So this is for them, those people. So you can cancel the agreement with a partial refund if you do it within 48 hours. So that is solely for the advanced booking clients.
Okay, and so the people who book, if it's not 48 hours in advance, they from the time they book it, then they lose their deposit.
Yeah,
right?
so normally they just pay the deposit to reserve it, and then when they arrive, they pay the rest. So if you pay a deposit and then you cancel the day of or whatnot, unless it's certain circumstances, if your flight get canceled due to weather, things of that nature, we understand. We'll send it back. But if it's just something where you're just not coming no more or whatever the case may be, because we potentially could have got that car booked and we took it off the market solely because you paid the deposit,
Okay.
So of course, as you can see here, we're not allowed for any loss, damage, or injury to the renter or their property during the rental period. So typically, this is where their insurance covers all that stuff. So, and here's my fee. So, just to get into fees. So, like I said, don't have insurance. And to be honest, a Tesla, I don't rent to nobody without insurance. If you don't have insurance, you're not getting a Tesla. Just to be, this is more so for my economy cars like Honda Accords, Ford Fusions, Toyota Camrys, those type of vehicles. I'll let you use the option to purchase insurance for $25. Fuel charge, this is for the higher end cars because gas is something else in them cars that take premium. So I charge you $75 fuel charge if you don't put it back where it was. Like additional driver fee, $50 as I mentioned, but you must meet the driver requirement. So you can't add a driver that's 19. You still got to be 21 or older. And for luxury vehicles, you still have to be 25 or older. And I also make them purchase third-party insurance. So if they can't be added, same scenario, if the husband can't be added to the policy, I would then send them a link to a third-party insurance company that would cover them if an accident occurs.
Okay.
And then, of course, underage driver fee. Additionally, $50 is charged the primary driver or additional drivers are under a certain age, usually 25. As I mentioned before, I typically like 25 and up crew. That's typically most of my clients are 25 and up. I don't think I ever dealt with any young clients lately. Then mileage charge, of course, every car gets 200 miles per day, right? That's my limit with driving. If you go 200 miles, it may be because you're going out of town or something, which is cool. But normally when people go out of town, they get multiple days. So if you got 200 miles per day and you're going to be gone for a week to, let's just say, Florida, you have 1,400 miles, basically. 200 times 7 days. You have 1,400 miles. Any miles you go over, this is $1 per mile. And if you notice with Spring Free EV, if that was to be a thing, they charge, I think, what was it, 35 cents a mile?
Yeah. Yes.
So basically, profit off the mileage as well, double what Spring Free EV would be charging us. So
Okay. Perfect.
official if something like that was to happen.
So there's ways in here to make other money for when we have to pay for other unexpected expenses.
Absolutely. And once I finish going through, I'll tell you which ones I probably capitalize off the most. So late return fee, like I said, if you get the car at 1 o'clock, you got it for a week. A week later at 1 o'clock, you need to turn it in. I give everyone an hour grace period. After that hour grace period, I'm charging you a late return fee because sometimes I try to maximize my booking to where a car may come back at 1 and it goes back out at 3. But if you don't bring the car back to 2:30, 2:45, and I got to charge it and we still got to clean it, now that's inconvenient the next customer. So I have to charge you for that. Airport pickup drop off, that's, we do offer deliveries. It is situations where a person might be running late for their flight and they can't make it to our location. And they're like, hey, can you pick up from the airport? We're going to charge you $50 if I have to come to the airport to pick up the car. And of course, one-way rental fee. This is if you return the car to a different location from where you picked it up. So if, let's just say you picked it up from my location, but then you're like, hey, can you pick the car up from Lenox Mall? We're going to charge you $50.
Okay.
And of course,
and you have all that stuff in play. You already have the system that all this stuff that takes care of all of this stuff.
Yep, I sure do. So equipment rental, just if a person needs like a child seat or a GPS, which most vehicles, Tesla specifically, have GPS, so I don't have to worry about that. I do have a couple child seats that I do offer. Might just charge them $15, for the trip or whatnot. That's another way just to make extra money. Cleaning fee. This is another one. A lot of people do not go to Mister. I will tell them and emphasize like, hey, if you don't bring it back clean, you're going to be charged $50. It's going to come out your deposit. Believe it or not, most of the clients be like, hey, you can just take the cleaning fee out of my deposit. I'm like, okay, cool. So now they just turned $100 a day rental to a $150 rental.
Yeah.
People are lazy, so we get to capitalize on people being lazy. Just being honest.
Okay, perfect.
And of course, toll pass. So this is for the people who, sometimes people will get an express lane because they know they're in a rental car. Or if they go on to Florida, Florida has a lot of tolls when you go there, things of that nature. So I charge them a flat fee, $20 for toll.
Okay.
Like that's if you want us to, if you tell me, hey, I'm going to Florida, I already have some toll passes for Florida because when I was in Miami, I had a whole bunch of them. So
me too.
I have a lot of Sun Pass stickers. So if you tell me you're going to Florida, cool. I'll charge you $20 on top and just put the toll pass into the car. So now when you're going to Florida, yes, it's going to charge tolls, but we already got that taken care of because you paid the $20 up front.
Okay. And then what if they don't do that? You just charge them after the fact, right?
Yeah, if they don't let us know, I'll just charge them after the fact. And then
how do you know to charge them before you give them their deposit back?
So it's a sticker that we have. I forgot the name of it. It's like a digital magnetic sticker that you put in. So it merges with SunPass. And when, let's just say if a person didn't tell us they was going to Florida, it's going to collect those tolls every time they go through. And then by the time they turn the car in, I could go look in the system and be like, hey, you owe us this for tolls. Although we haven't got billed for those tolls just yet, I know those tolls are going to come in the mail later down the line. So I get to go ahead and take care of that up front.
Okay, perfect.
And then, of course, traffic violation. So if you get the traffic violation, speeding ticket, anything of that nature, of course, it falls on them because they have to show their driver license and all that. So the ticket's going to be written under them. And there's just simple policies and procedures. So if a renter fails to make the agreed, rental payments with this specific time, or if you dispute any transaction, I will repossess the vehicle. So I haven't had this happen maybe in a few years, but when I first began, people would pay with stolen credit cards. And then, I wouldn't say pay with stolen credit cards. I would send them a link to pay online, and then they would pay online, and then 2-3 days later, it would charge back. But the moment it charged back, I would just locate the card, kill switch it, and repo it. Like, I don't even give you a second chance to pay correctly, if that makes sense.
All right, perfect.
Of course, breach of rental agreement. If you violate any terms, conditions, outline agreement, I'm going to repossess the car, report it stolen, because that's basically considered theft by conversion. So That goes for the clients who know they got to turn it in today. They go MIA, or go out of town and don't want to come back in town, or whatever scenario you could think of. My solution is going to be we either going to come repo the car because I have a tow team. Either going to repo the car, or if you're just far out, we're just going to report it stolen. And from experience, you won't last 48 hours with the car reported stolen. You're going to get caught. They're going to pull you over. Of course, excessive damage. I think we're going to take that out of your security deposit or charge you equivalent amount for repair. So now there will be scenarios where it's damage to the car and it does not make sense to do a claim. So I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody just has a fender bender, right? Cool. It doesn't make, if they have insurance, then yes, we go out there insurance. So let's just say the insurance, like, if that client deductible is $1,000, but the repairs is only $700. In that case, it would make sense for us to just make a payment arrangement solution with their client of the $700 versus them paying $1,000 deductible, because they would essentially lose $300 going through the insurance route. So that's another way, just to, because sometimes the claims are long. So you don't want to be waiting on an insurance claim to get a car fixed and it's down and it's going to take another month when we could have just paid the $700 to get the car back on the road and then send the invoice to the insurance company, have them reimburse us for that because we already went ahead and took care of it. So
Yeah.
that would be like, if it's something minor, that's normally my solution. So my personal threshold when it comes to accidents, if it's $1,500 or less, I just go ahead and get it fixed, work something out with the client. Granted, you have some good clients who do the right thing and pay, and you have some clients who will try to stall you out. So in that scenario, personally, I just go ahead and get it fixed, keep documentation on it. But then on the flip side, I have my assistant and my VAs contacting that client like, hey, you have to pay this balance so we can get the car fixed. Whole time, we already got the car fixed.
Yeah.
But the car is back on the road. But to the customer's perspective, we always want to make it seem like the car is still down and it's not operable. That's the only way they will actually pay. And that's
Okay,
just
perfect.
from 4 or 5 years of experience. If I tell
Perfect.
them, oh, we already got the car fixed, but you just got to pay us back, we're not going to get paid back.
Yeah, no.
But
And yeah, because they're gonna think in their mind that they can be charged loss of wages on that car too. You know what I mean? If we take them to court, because they will have to pay loss of wages because that's how we make our money. So
exactly. So that's, just to give you an example. Of course, theft happens. In an unfortunate event of car theft, like if you don't report the car, because there will be scenarios, a client, like, and just in the beginning stages of me renting vehicles, client like, oh, my car got stolen. Okay, did you report it stolen with the police? No. Okay, you need to report it stolen, or I'm gonna say you stole it. Like, because granted, people play games like that. So it's like, if a car got really stolen, you need to file a police report and report it stolen. And
yeah.
then of course I'll get a copy of that and take care of it with the insurance company and things of that nature. But honestly, a person really can't steal our cars because I got kill switches. The moment you tell me it's stolen, I'm kill switching it. So whoever has it, they can't go anywhere.
Oh, good. So you got that in all of them. That's good.
Yep, that's in every car. I don't even rent a car without that. So that's outside of insurance. That's the second.
Does that be? I mean, do we pay to put that in, or is that already put in when you get them from the EV company?
So the EV company doesn't provide that. That's something we would have to pay to get that in. So on average, I pay roughly around $200 per car, depending on, well, Tesla specifically, $200 for kill switch. Although, because most people think like you can't really kill switch an electric car, you can, but you just gotta have the right people to do it. So most of my cars I pay $200 for a kill switch tracker, so we can know what cars at all time. But Tesla has its own app as well. So it's like, honestly, a kill switch isn't necessarily needed in a Tesla solely because you can always go get it at any time. You can always locate it. You can always call Tesla. They'll find it for you. Like, it's more tech friendly. You know what I'm saying? So versus the gas cars. So you don't necessarily have to worry about that necessarily with the Tesla. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, unauthorized drivers. If the rental allows unauthorized drivers to operate a rental car, depending on the car, I will repossess it. So, like, if it's a higher end car and you just got anybody driving it, that's a liability. So Like there have been scenarios, because sometimes I used to do advertising at nightclubs. So like I know a lot of guys that do valet, so I pay them maybe $100, park my cars in front of valet, and in front of the window it's a for rent sign. So like
Yeah. Yep.
a for rent sign, and
Advertisement.
and then they have an idea of certain cars that I have. So it'd be times where a client I rented to, his homeboy might be driving the car to the club. My valet team will let me know, like, hey, is this your car, right? Is he supposed to be driving this? Then they'll show me. If it's not, I'm like, yeah, he don't supposed to be driving. That will give me a reason to come get the car. I'll call
Hmm.
my tow guy, he'll come get the car. Like, hey, you just can't let anybody drive the car. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Of course, fraudulent information, if you provide any false or fraudulent information during the rental process, we're going to repossess the car and keep your security deposit. No ifs, ands, and buts about that. But we don't really, I don't really have any experience with fraud lately, solely because checking driver license, checking your insurance, re-verify it, all that good stuff, run your MVR. So it'd be very hard for somebody to get away with fraud with me. Just because I feel like I don't seen it all. Of course, insurance requirements. So what some people will do, oh, I need insurance to get the car. Okay, cool. Hey, they'll have their cousin send them a copy of their insurance card and they just edit the document. People do that. But that doesn't work with me because we actually call and verify insurance companies. So once we call and verify, if you're not listed on a driver as a driver, we're not going to rent it to you.
Okay, perfect.
That's basically, you got to maintain. And another scenario when we lease cars long term to clients, they'll have insurance for 1 month and then the second month they don't pay it. And now they're not insured because the policy lapsed. So every month we're going to call and make sure that that policy is still active because people.
Okay, perfect. Good. We have good. We have good. There's so many things we can automate. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
love it that you're on point with everything because all these things are automate that we can automate them. But the fact that you're sitting here talking to me rather than me having to ask these questions is phenomenal.
Yeah, I figured this would probably answer most of the questions. And then of course, next, if you're doing any criminal activity, if we suspect that the car is being used for legal purposes, whatever the case may be, and it involve law enforcement, we will repossess it. Now, from experience, maybe a few years back, I did have like a client get arrested for whatever reason. Officers normally call us; they're like our best friends, so they normally call like, "Hey, I just want to let you know your client's getting arrested. The car is going to this tow yard. Blah blah blah. You pick it up. Mind you, that client pays a deposit. I'm gonna take that deposit, go get the car at the tow, and that's how we resolve that. And then, of course, this is just legal binding agreement, letting them know that they had the authority to enter this agreement. And I also put that there will be GPS tracking at all times that may alert or notify renters. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So, in my gas cars, I have 3 trackers. I have the tracker that comes with the car when you download like whatever car it is. For example, like my BMW, I have the BMW app that will track the car. The second tracker will be an AirTag, but that is purposely put in there so the clients know that they're being tracked. Because if you have an iPhone, if you get in a car, it's going to let you know that hey, an AirTag is in this car.
Uh-huh.
That is ultimately the decoy AirTag. That's just so you know it's in there. If you tamper with that AirTag, that's going to easily let me know that you're on some BS and I'm going to kill switch the car with the other tracker.
Okay, perfect.
Make sense?
Yep.
So that's pretty much a rundown for just policies and procedures of everything with the vehicles. So that just eliminates all the terrible clients. So like past few years have been kind of smooth sailing, no issues, anything of that nature. So it's been pretty fair.
So let's say your other clients, let's say you have, because I know what you make and what I make is different because you manage the car, right?
Yes.
So what does your other client, I mean, what are you thinking that I would make monthly on if I got 4 of the 3s and 1 of the Ys, right?
Okay. So do you want a percentage or you want a dollar?
I just want to make sure that I am going because my investor is saying, okay, what is your ROI on this? And I'm saying, listen, I am coming to you because I mean him, meaning him, because I'm going to have to get a car for my daughter regardless, right? So whether I get 1 or 5, I'm just trying to figure out a way to make these a car be an asset instead of a damn liability. So that's why I was explaining this to him, because he's like, oh, I can take and make you way more money with other things, right? But again, I'm gonna spend it somewhere on a vehicle, right? So now I'm just saying, okay, is there a way if I get these, I want to make sure I'm not going to be spending, not, I want to make sure I'm making money and definitely not losing money.
Okay, got you. So I'll give you real numbers, right? Let me pull up that spring free EV chart real quick.
Because I got her on my head right now. Like, I need a car rented this weekend. I'm like, girl, give me a second.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up. Spring free. It should pop up. Let's see. Tyler. There we go. I think that's it. All right, cool. This is pricing, right? So let's plug in realistic numbers. And I'm glad you asked that, right? So let's just say for the Model 3, right? So let's just say we did a 5-year lease, right? So that's $1,050 monthly we're looking at for the Model 3. And this is a long range, which is pretty good. We could probably charge a little bit more being it's a long range, maybe $5-10 more. So $1,050, right? So we're just gonna plug in a number. It was, what was that number again?
1,050.
Yep, 1,050, right? So let's plug this number in, right? Where is it? Car note. So let's just say 1,050 is this number, right? And of course, being that it's 1,050, we'll have to charge a little bit more. So let's see here. So in this case, all right, plug that 1,050 in. Let's just say we had these same exact bookings, right? Same exact bookings. So we made total earnings of 2,200, right? Cool. Now the expenses is 1,270. So that leaves roughly 930 profit, right? So now in this case, we could work something out where we could do a percentage split, which would make sense being that the notes are in 1,000 range, right? So what would make sense to make it more profitable for the both of us, it would make sense to do a 70-30 split or 60-40 split. So that way 70% of this is what you'll make per car. So I can give you that exact number. That would be roughly, let's see. So you'll make 650. You would have made profit in your pocket 651. Let me actually put that formula in.
Now, while you're putting this formula in, also other question: will this help me get business credit? Or how do I even work on that? Because remember, everything I've done has been in the cannabis space, so I've never needed it because I couldn't use it anyways.
So as far as business credit, now if you purchase the vehicles under your company, yes.
But if we do a JV with both of our names on it, won't it still help my company and yours?
They won't allow us to put two companies on there. It had to be one. So that's why I asked, like, which route did you want to go to purchase? Because if, let's just say you got 5 cars and I got 5 cars and they're all under my company, then we would get those incentives and things of that nature. But it wouldn't build your business credit necessarily because the lease isn't under your company. It would be under mine. So if you did get them under your company, yes, to answer your question, yes. If you got them under your company, yes.
But what if we just did a JV under a registered company's name, and then that one company name is a DBA of both of our companies?
So the only thing is that with Screen Free EV, the company has to already be an established car rental company.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
2 years in business. And then let's just say, for example, if you wanted to get the cars under your company so you could build business credit, they're going to ask for bank statements. They're going to ask for a profit loss statement. They're going to ask for balance sheet. So
yeah,
that kind of makes it hard for someone, new trying to get into the business. So like that's pretty much their process. Like, because I went through the whole process, submitting all the documentation to them and things of that nature, just so I could, get more cars. But I knew about this company 2-3 years ago when they first started. It just I wasn't in a position to actually acquire them based on them seeing my financials and things of that nature. I had to get a little more organized and get everything more put together in order for me to go back to them and be like, all right, cool, I'm ready now. Like, let's go.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Well,
but
that's the whole reason that I really want to work with you, but I want to be able to explain these things to my financial advisor and then say, okay, well, this is, now write up the contract because this is what I want to do. I want him, he's got the experience and he's already been doing this, right? And he's already got the relationship, you meaning you, with the company. So, his biggest thing was, what are you going to be making? What is his guarantee that you're not going to lose money each month on these cars? Since he's the one managing it and you're paying him to manage it, what kind of guarantee are you getting from it? And then what is your contract going to look like as far as, if y'all are doing a JV or, what kind of contract are you signing with his company? That kind of stuff was his questions to me. And I was like, well, I have to have this presentation with him first and then we'll know more.
Yeah, so like it can go either way. So like there are some scenarios where like we could do a joint venture where we just do a profit split. So like same example. So like let's just say if we plugged in at 1,050 with the same expenses or whatnot, the net profit is 930. So if we did a joint venture, you would get 70% of that 930. I would get 30% just for managing. Make sense?
Okay.
So your take home will be 650 for that month of that car, right?
Okay.
Now, this is a great month for this car. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I had 22 bookings. So 22 bookings would be considered a great month. Again, it's 15 to 21. So that's a great month. So I like to be.
What is your average month like?
The average is between 15 and 21.
Okay. So if it was 15, what is it? The bare minimum, what is it?
Yep, I'm about to go to 15 now. So I'm about to take a few days off. All right, cool. So let's just say if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 11. Okay. So let's just say the bare minimum, right? Cool. So 1,050, but keep in mind, this doesn't even include those additional fees that I mentioned.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So this is just solely what the car makes. On average, in additional fees, I'll probably make an extra $200-$300 per car just off fees. So I didn't put it in here necessarily because those fees are technically expenses and will kind of go under cleaning and things of that nature. So I don't plug those into these numbers because that is additional income. That's not really car income.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but honestly, I think the goal is to always be somewhere to make a 600 profit range. That's normally the goal. So let's just say there will be scenarios where, I give people weekly deals, right? So my weekly deal on Teslas would be $550 a week, right? So $550 a week is $2,200 monthly, right? So let's just say we put this number here at $2,200 monthly. So let me I can erase this now. Let's see. So let's just say I did $550 weekly, right, for a client. So let's just say each client paid $550 and they had it for a week. So it's $550 there. That'll be 1, 2. So $550 here, and then $550 here. Let's just say, because on average, I never see my Teslas. Like, luckily, the Tesla I was gonna get Kiana literally had came back the day before, and I had told her it just came back yesterday. It was gone for like 4 months. So
I know she keeps saying, Mom, just go give him the money to get me that car. I'm like, girl, wait and let me see, because just going to give him the money ain't going to make me any money. It's just going to get you what you want.
Yeah, it got to make sense. So let's just say these 4 clients got weekly deals of $550. So when I do weekly deals, I don't charge them no taxes. So that kind of reels them in a little bit more. I always try to push the weekly deals anyways, because ultimately that's less managing for me and my people who I have in place. So that's less work for us necessarily, right?
Okay.
So we push the weekly deal. They get 550, 550. Cool. That's a great month. So the profit will be 930. Again, you still take home roughly 650. So on average, I'll say on the low end, your profit take home would be 400. On the high end would be roughly 650, 700. So it will be in that range guaranteed every month. Now, I do have some investors where some are conservative and some are risky. So that's a question I like to ask. So if you someone that's conservative and you just want steady income, and then instead of doing a profit split, I would probably just do something where it's like, hey, my company take care of all expenses. We pay you 500 monthly. That would be the safe right in the middle between that 400 and that 600 range, right? So that's for my conservative investors. So if you
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
you're fine.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so you said so that's for people that are conservative, and then the risk takers. Um,
With the risk takers would be the ones who do a percentage split of
yeah.
what the car makes. So 70-30 is typically for, typically the joint venture that I do. Like, hey, okay, if you want to, some people that's in it to make money, trying to maximize as much as they can make, I normally do a 70-30, 70% their way, 30% my way, just for managing it. Then you got some who like, I don't really want to deal with the expenses of the business. Like, I'll just let you deal with all that. I just want a safe number. What's that number? And that safe number normally would be $400 to $500 per
Okay.
car. That's the
Perfect.
safe number. So that kind of gives them the option, because everybody's not a risky investor. Some people just want to play it safe, like, hey, as long as I'm just making 400 per car and I give you 5 of them, that's an additional 2,000 for me. I'm cool with that.